Welcome to Weather to Watch. Well, we have a huge low pressure area, sometimes called a bomb cyclone, also a nor'easter, whatever you want to call it. It is ramping up quickly as I record this on Sunday afternoon. We'll take a look at its impacts on the Northeast and also have a look down the road, 1, even 2 weeks into the future. Let's get started. I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. We'll look at the visible satellite loop for the lower 48, and this is where the storm is developing right in here. So if you ever look at satellite images and you see the comma shape like this and then like this, that means something's up for sure. And this is a deepening area of low pressure being supported by a jet stream that's very favorable. Also on the visible satellite, much of the south central and central U.S. is good. You can still see the snow swath from a few days ago. And while there is some moisture coming ashore in the Pacific Northwest, it is not nearly as powerful as storms can get out there, and not nearly the same as what's happening around New York City and much of the Northeast. If you look at the 500 millibar flow on top of this, this is classic with a very sharp trough in the right over the Appalachians of Ohio River Valley, and this is just helping air aloft to spread out like this. And if you want low pressure at the surface to develop, it's right here, right now. What you have to do is evacuate air out of the top of this low faster than it can be replaced at the surface. And that can be done because surface friction slows that air down, but also that air is more dense. So you got a real balancing act there in the atmosphere to really get low pressure areas to deepen. But this is exactly what you need to do. You need to have the air spread out ahead of a sharp trough like that to get that to happen. Now, this is a model simulation of what the low looks like at 1 p.m. Eastern. There's Virginia Beach right there. This thing is deepening quickly, warm and cold front structure. If you're a forecaster in the Northeast, this is kind of what you live for, but also kind of, don't look forward to, because getting the snow amounts can be very, very difficult. The thing about this is there's a lot of potential energy with storms like this, because there's warm Gulf water out here, but cold Arctic air sitting over the land. And so if we look at the radar loop here, you can see the precipitation is starting in earnest. This was recorded about the same time, about 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern. And already starting to see some snow break out, especially across New Jersey and Maryland and Delaware. And it's not necessarily pure snow either. Now take a look at these temperatures. Now see, these are all above freezing here. Now the northern part of this is starting out as a little bit of rain and maybe some wet snow, but eventually the temperatures will be cool enough that all this area will experience a pretty good snow. I wanted to show you the wind gusts, because in a minute I'll show you what the forecast for wind gusts are. But even now, it's not real pleasant in the Northeast, with wind gusts over 20 miles per hour from Massachusetts and Connecticut all the way down to Delaware and Maryland. So here is that nor'easter barreling up the coast, and where these things end up is so important. See, the rain snow line is mostly out to sea, so that makes this a pure snow event for all the coastal areas here. And you can see the darker blues are where the heaviest snow is going to fall. This is a loop of low pressure through 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Monday. So there is a track of that low right there. Now let's see what the practical impacts of this nor'easter deepening cyclogenesis are going to be. Well, here's a collaboration of all the National Weather Service offices and what they think the snow will do. So when you start seeing the darker red color, that's 18 inches of snow, believe it or not. So that's all of this right here. And then the next red is 18 to 24 inches of snow. And you're reading that right. 2 feet of snow possible in parts of New Jersey, Long Island, maybe lower New York State. It'll be close to that, I think, in New York City. Now, this is the National Weather Service's collaboration of all the snow, not the model data. But of course, the forecaster's job is to sort through the model data and come up with some sort of maybe more reasonable forecast. I didn't want to leave out Boston either. They're in that 18 to 24 inch total area as well. But now that we're talking about models, it is fun to look at one. Here's the NAM, North American model, from this morning's 12Z run, 6 a.m. Central. And this is through Monday morning, and it's showing New York City at 21.5 inches. It's showing Long Branch at over 2 feet of snow, Toms River well over 2 feet of snow. Those are both in New Jersey. Philadelphia is going to get 14. Boston is up around just over 16 inches of snow the way it looks now. Remember I talked about the wind gust. What makes it a blizzard, and there is a blizzard warning in effect, are these wind gusts expected at 7 a.m. on Monday morning, including wind gusts over 50 miles per hour around New York City and in Long Island, and close to that and over that again in New Jersey. And we even have wind gusts that approach 60 miles per hour out over the Cape. So that is what gets you a blizzard too. So there is a blizzard warning in effect from Boston to New York City to Philadelphia, all of New Jersey, getting down into Delaware and the eastern part of Maryland, basically, with a winter storm warning on the edge of that. A very, very potent storm. And I wanted to show you this. Later this week, there are 2 areas that are being watched for heavy precipitation. One of them is another heavy snow event, completely separate from this one, on Thursday, that'll run from central Pennsylvania up into Massachusetts, parts of New Hampshire and Maine, too. And this heavy rain is also forecast for the Tennessee River Valley into the Appalachians, West Virginia. Let's talk about that next. So this is the total precipitation for a specific period, Thursday and Friday. And so this is what is being watched for heavy rain potential. So that swath of purple right there is where 1.5 inches of rain starts. The darker purple gets up around 2 inches. There, a scale on the left. So that's parts of, right around Asheville, that area. So we're watching this for a heavy rain potential for Thursday and Friday. Also, just to go out to the northwest real quick, this is Sunday through Tuesday. Total precipitation. So today, tomorrow, and Tuesday. So this is rain, pretty heavy rain in the Oregon coastal areas and northwestern California, parts of Washington. But you can see where the mountain ranges are here and here. This is all going to be snow out there. If we look further out for precipitation, this is Saturday through Wednesday of this coming Saturday. So it looks like we're getting a little bit of Gulf return here. So it looks like something is happening to encourage rain out in Texas and in the Great Plains. Meanwhile, the West will finally dry out a little bit, and Florida and the Northeast, no significant changes there. So this is the EPS weekly. That was actually run on Thursday night, so this is as old as I can possibly show this to you. They'll update it again tomorrow night, but it still, I think, holds pretty well. Ridging in the southwestern U.S., general troughing in the east, and even if you have cold air and blizzards, you're still going to be averaging over this 7-day period above normal temperatures from the Great Lakes and then covering everything west from there. Only the southeast, in particular Florida, over that 7-day period is forecast to be a little bit below normal, but we can see that clearly in these temperature trends I'm about to show you. High temperatures on Monday basically cuts the country in half. So the eastern U.S. is below normal. The western U.S. is above normal. The coldest air compared to normal will be right around that Asheville area, parts of Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, even down into Florida. Of course, almost the entire state is going to be below normal. Well, actually, it is. If it's a bluer color, it is. But the epicenters are where that darker blue are located. So we have highs of only 28 in Chicago, only 41 in Atlanta. And around the Tampa area, the high will be 54 on Monday. People going to Florida to get warm are not. And we experienced that. We went on vacation about a month ago and had a cold blast even stronger than that. But we endured. Anyway, on Wednesday, the country warming up considerably with 70s returning to the plains, 80s returning to Texas. Florida is still a little bit cool, but on the men's, still a little bit Arctic air finding its way into Minnesota and parts of Wisconsin. Even that wears off by Friday, with the warm air returning to much of the central plains all the way up to Canada. Only the northwest corner and the northeast corner of the country will be below normal during that time. And 6 to 10 days, which is Saturday through Wednesday of the following week, has the highest probability of above normal temperatures in California and in parts of California, Southern California, and also Arizona, with only a little sliver in the northern plains maybe going to be a little bit below normal through that period. Let's look 2 weeks out. So for right around March 2nd through the 8th, there is an above normal rain hazard possible. This is still a slight risk this many days out, but I wanted to let you know Oklahoma, southern Missouri, Arkansas, actually the driest short-term conditions are right there. So they could use this rain. I hope it pans out. But this extends all the way up into southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, much of the Tennessee River Valley. So again, this is 2 weeks out. So this is March 2nd through the 8th. So just put a pin in that. Snowfall returns to the Northeast again. So there is a slight risk of heavy snow for the 2nd through the 8th through Pennsylvania, New York, and all of New England. And there's also a little bit of snow hazard in the Northwest for that same time period, basically the Cascades there in Washington. And one last map I wanted to show you, and this is the time of year I start keeping an eye on this a little more earnestly. This is the severe weather possibilities, March 1st through the 7th, and it does show supercell indices running a little higher, not as high as spring, but these probabilities are not too shabby either. So Oklahoma, Texas, and especially down in Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, and climatologically, this area right here is exactly where you would expect to see severe weather for the early part of March, creeping into the plains quickly, but this is still an area that would be watched. And actually, I lied. There's two more things I wanted to show you. The March outlooks are out. So this is produced by the climate folks, and so it looks like the epicenter of confidence for high temperatures being above normal, or just temperatures in general. This is the average temperature for the day is what this forecast would be. Right over Oklahoma, northern Texas, Arkansas, and precipitation looks like an arcing higher chance there in the Great Lakes down into around St. Louis and in the Pacific Northwest. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.